We're going to get into this more now with our panel, NewsNation political contributors joining us. Lauren Wright from Princeton, Democratic strategist Chris Hahn, as well as we wait for the president. So we will have this conversation now, and then we'll probably have the president with this announcement on Apple. Lauren, you first on this whole Texas thing. It's not just Texas; it could be California, but this gerrymandering, redistricting drama. What stands out to you?
Well, you asked some really good questions there, and the top question should be the hypocrisy. The mistake Democrats made is for years they've been saying gerrymandering is morally and ethically wrong. No one should be able to do this. There was even a bipartisan redistricting commission established in California, similar one in New York. But now those governors are both saying we're going to fight fire with fire. So what is it? Is this no longer a moral or ethical position? Or is that all just out the window? It's a tough message to sell, but I do understand why. If you're a Democrat like Chris, who likes to win, then you're going to use every tool in your toolkit. You've both done it. I mean, I'm considering just eliminating Chris from this conversation since Lauren complimented my question. No, don't eliminate Chris. Okay. We like talking to Chris. Because, you said I had great questions. I was just, you and I could just speak about it, and then just Chris could just sit there. But I did do a little research, and Chris probably already knows all of this, going back kind of on the gerrymandering thing. And it is, you do wonder where this all ends. Like, a lot of people thought out of the civil rights era, this tried to start in the 60s, 70s, but it really seemed to take off in the 80s, the actual redrawing of the districts. And it's been both parties. It depends who's in power. And at some point, it just ends with all of us in our own corners, Chris, and, no swing districts. I mean, where's this all going?
First of all, Professor Wright, it's gerrymandering after Elbridge Gerry,
who was the first governor of Massachusetts. 10 points for you. Very good.
I am married to his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter.
Wow.
So here's the thing. Here's what I feel. Yes, I believe that gerrymandering is morally and ethically wrong. But I also believe you cannot unilaterally disarm. You do not bring a knife to a gunfight. Republicans have taken gerrymandering to a whole new level. You don't need to look at Texas. You can look at North Carolina. And this mid-decade gerrymander is pathetic. It shows that the president and his party are afraid of the voters because they know, looking at the right track, wrong track number right now, that the voters are not happy at the direction of the country, and they are going to take it out on the party in power. So rather than let the voters have their say, they want to choose the voters and how they vote. It's pathetic. I don't like it when any party does it. But you know what? We're not going to let the Republicans do it there and then give it up everywhere else. It's time for New York and California and any other state that can do it to fight fire with fire. Or it's time for Texas to say enough's enough. We could all go back to our corners. We'll see how this legislative election works out in 2026. And then we can pass laws that get rid of gerrymandering altogether, because it is gerrymandering itself which is the cause of all of our problems in the United States of America today, because only the extremists come out in the primaries. So we don't get moderates that want to get together and compromise like the founders intended, and it's got to stop.
Okay, a couple of things. Number one, I'm uncomfortable. I know this is on me with gerrymandering. I just am. I get it. It's probably the right way to say it. Like, I say short-lived, and my kids are like, no, it's short-lived, and I think short-lived is, I believe, is the correct way to say it.
Long Island. How did you come up with that?
Yeah, like Long Island, you shouldn't say it at all. Like, who talks like that? Short-lived, short-lived. But gerrymandering, I get it. I no disrespect to your family, but I just have to say gerrymandering. Now, that said,
my in-laws.
Lauren, yeah, right. No disrespect to your in-laws. Now, that said, Lauren, what about the larger point of where the Republicans are coming from heading into these midterms? Like, with numbers going down, is there a fear in the party of big losses, and you're just trying to limit those losses at this point? Is that what's really going on?
Well, of course that's what's going on, but the bigger problem that Texas Democrats have is that California is hemorrhaging voters. 200,000 people left last year. New York had a very similar number, closer to 150,000 voters leaving the state. So the bigger problem is, Texas is going to win seats by hook or by crook, but one of the main ways they're going to get them is because people are moving there en masse. And that's a much bigger macro problem that Democrats have to deal with, that's coinciding with the fact that people are voting for Republicans more often than they used to.
Yeah, and the thing with Democrats, I think it was Mick Mulvaney, but Chris brought this up yesterday, is like, in the big blue states, can they do much more than they've already done? Maybe you say they will, or Gavin Newsom will, but or are those districts kind of drawn to their advantage already in California, New York, Illinois, and so on and so forth, Massachusetts?
Oh, I think in California, they've got a lot of room to grow.
Okay.
I don't know how much room they have to grow in Massachusetts. They maybe could pick up 1 or 2 more seats in New York, but that's about it. But they could definitely match Texas in California. In fact, they probably could outdo Texas in California, because California is not as gerrymandered as Texas already is. I mean, Texas is really cut for Republicans. I mean, North Carolina is pathetic. It's a 50-50 state, and you're not seeing that in the congressional delegation at all. They've cut it. It's ridiculous. It's time for this to stop. It's time for like adults in Congress to stand up and say we're done. They're not gonna, unfortunately,
Right.
But that's where we are.
Yeah, adults in Congress is some sign of an oxymoron, I think. Lauren, let's end on a comment here before we go to the president, which that event was supposed to have started, so any moment now, I suppose. This idea of what he's trying to do with, today's pumping up Apple and how he's handled some of this with trying to bring investment into the U.S., jobs back to the U.S., using tariffs as a tool, as we saw today with India. What do you make of the way he's using these kind of economic tools and or, carrots and sticks and weapons over the last few weeks?
Well, I'm not a tariff fan. I opposed this policy item when we first started talking about Trump running in 2024. But look, the advantage he has is that the economic effects of the tariffs have not played out as they have in the past, and certainly not as bad as Democrats were forewarning. And so they've been sort of left holding an empty bag. What he's done is he sort of cleared the playing field. We thought it would be a complete disaster, but then he's cutting some deals, and so it does look like positive momentum. And any investment in the U.S., especially from a tech company like Apple, of course, any party, any president is going to announce that, and they definitely should.
Quick comment on that, Chris. With Trump pumping up this announcement, another $100 billion, he says, coming here from Apple.
Well, obviously, that's good news, but I never want to congratulate the arsonist for putting a little water on the fire. And that's really what's going on in every economic story he has. Every time we hear about a tariff being lowered, the tariff didn't exist at all before he set the tariff. So, again, that's why he's afraid of the voters, because the voters are starting to feel it. They could fire the statisticians all they want. People know when they're unemployed. People know when things cost more. And it's going to be a rough time for the Republican Party in 2026 if this trend continues. Now, what they should be doing is trying to reverse the trend. I think that this announcement is an attempt to do that, but they've got to do much, much more.
Long Island's Chris Wright, Princeton's Chris Hahn, and Princeton's Lauren Wright. Even the jokes I can't get right today. It's one of those days. Thank you both.
Can't do it.
You're always great together. President Trump and Tim Cook here in a few minutes.
Thank you.